Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we're going to be deconstructing my cover remix without me. So without any further ado, let's just get into it. So before I get started with the process of how I exactly made the entire track, let's talk something about cover remixes. So what exactly are these? You've seen cover remixes on channels like LithuaniaHQ and a couple of labels like Spinnin, and other labels are also getting into that zone. So what exactly happens is you get a singer and then you do a cover of the track and then you remix it, and then you take license from your distributor to distribute it. So what happens is some amount of the royalties of the track goes to the original creator who had done the original work, of course, and you also get paid some amount. So a lot of people have a misconception that LithuaniaHQ tracks are just ripping off other artists' acapellas, and they're pitching it down and stuff, and then making a remix and uploading it on Spotify and other platforms. But let me tell you, that's not possible, because the distributors also check the audio file which you are uploading, and if it does not pass their copyright terms and conditions, they won't allow you to distribute it in the first place. Yeah, that's how most of the cover remixes you are seeing nowadays are made. You get an original singer to do the cover for you, and then you remix it and upload it via your distributor or any label which is willing to upload a cover remix. So yeah, now let's get started with how I exactly made the track. So as usual, we'll start off with the bassline first. Let's take a listen to what it sounds like. A bit crackling noise because of my PC, but anyways, yeah. So it's a pretty minimalistic drop as usual, the way I've been working on tracks. So the first thing that we are going to start off with is how I exactly made the bass line. So the first over here would be, it's a simple 3x oscillator sub. Then an FM bass. Now this doesn't have much low end, again it's only emphasizing on only mids and high mids. And I've used this transient processor. If you're using FL Studio 20, you will know this plugin, or probably would have seen it. So what this exactly does is it can control the attack and release. So you can see that release and attack both are reduced over here. So it's ducking the noise as it processes. It can make the bass sound a bit more softer, and since it has less release, it will give more space to your kick in the mix. And this is just a random note that I've added over here, you can see. Now in these two, what exactly I've done is these are having additional notes over here and here, whereas the other basses don't have it. So since these are only focusing on the mid range, you can add a couple of extra notes which will sound like it's bouncing when you hear the drop. This again, it's a mid-range focused, it's a more plucky bass. So over here you can see I've used fast distortion to give it a bit more warmth, and transient processor and some EQ, and then small reverb. This one's covering the lower mid-range and some bass parts. So together this is what it sounds like. Now let's take a look at how these are all linked to the same channel. That is the 31. This is what I like to call a pseudo master channel. So this controls all the effects and everything that's put on all these bases combined. So again, there's a fast distortion to give it more warmth and to tighten up things, sound goodizer, and then some EQ over here. Transient processor, again, you can see that I've increased the attack and reduced the release over here. So that's why it sounds a bit intact, and like the bass note hits and then it stops and then the next one hits again. And then there's kickstart, stereo none, so a bit on the mono end since I wanted to give the vocals more space over here. And a multiband compressor, general compression, and a limiter. So that's more or less how I made the bass. Now let's see the structure of the drop. You can notice over here that along with the additional notes that I had added on the mid range and the higher mid range, the same thing I've copied over here, and I've added a widen out bass, which is a Nesto inspired preset. So this has stereo shaper, and it's only focusing on the lower mid bass and sub. So yeah, it's a pretty straightforward drop, I would say, and the only additional things over here is the percussions in between. So you can see that a lot of percussions are going on over here. Now, the best part about using percussions is that it kind of gives a more unique feel to the drop. And it's not completely straightforward, like only kick and then the clap comes in and there are hi-hats. When you're using percussions, it also add-ons to the other things going on in the track. Like it will kind of complement the bass that is going on. And yeah, again, there's a simple white noise effect over here, which gives it a more filling feel when the track is starting out, because as you can see that the kick and the bass are the only two things, and then along with that there are these two percussions. So yeah, it will give you more space and it won't make the mix sound empty. So yeah, that was more or less how the drums were done, and you can see that again there are these crash fills that I've been making and using. Pretty simple to make. You can take any crash preset, crash sample, and then you add a balance, some reverb, EQ, and you make the balance automation, and then make it increasingly coming into the final crash. So yeah, it's like the hit is increasing note by note, and you can see the additional vocal layer that I've used. Now this might not be too audible in the mix, but you can see that it will give an ambient effect. And yeah, the main part were the vocals. Now if you have already subscribed to the channel, I'm pretty sure you by this time you probably know what this is, but in case you're new to the channel, I'll still explain what exactly I've done. So this is the reverb effect that a lot of deep house tracks have. This kind of creates a very good tension in the whole track. So what you do is, along with the existing reverb, you add another reverb to the vocals, and I'm not sure which one of this was the. Okay, yeah. So you can see that when the reverb is initially starting out, so yeah, what I want you to do is create a dry and wet automation, and then this is the volume automation from the reverb effect. So yeah, you can notice that as soon as this mix level automation comes up and the effect is active, and then it peaks over here, and then it removes itself. So this gives a very good transitional effect, and yeah, it's pretty commonly used nowadays. So yeah, that's pretty much how I made the drop. Now let's take a look at how I did the bridge. So there's this reverse vocal shot. Now to give it a transitional effect, I've added a lot of reverb on this one, so that it at least stays up till like 3 bars or maybe 4 bars. This is again a rest bass I use very often. Now over here you can notice that this one is a bit mono instead of being very wide, and this is again a sub bass. Now as you can see over here from the master that these two elements don't have much contribution if you look at the overall mix, but these again are ambient effects, and you can throw in these and make the sound a bit more fatter. Yeah, that's what they say, I guess. So yeah, this makes the sound a bit more fuller and fatter. Now to give the bass a bit more white feeling, I've used this one. This is again a Dynoro inspired preset. I've added a lot of stereo enhancer on this one, stereo shaper, and widen it out. A lot of reverb going on and multiband compression, and then EQ. This one doesn't have much bass, the lower sub, and there's only mid and higher mids, because those are the only areas you want to be covering, because you already added this resonating bass and sub. So altogether this sounds something like this. Now since it's a cover remix, we need to emphasize more on the main vocals instead of the other elements going on, and you can of course add some drums and create a slow build up effect. So yeah, the build up is also pretty simple. There's not much over here. Now for the snare, what I've done is I've added a parametric EQ, and then I've added a 30 plus 40 hertz cut. Yeah, over here. So you can see it starts from this one and goes up till over here. This kind of gives it a transitional effect, and it doesn't sound too much in the mix or out of the mix. It perfectly fits the mix. And then this ride effect, pretty much inspired by Oliver Heldens. And this again is continuing from the bridge. Altogether this would sound like this. Again, the same reverb effect on the vocals creates a lot of tension. You don't have to use white noise uplifters to do so. And yeah, it makes the mix sound much cleaner as well. Also, you can take a look at over here is the resonating bass has a, again, parametric EQ automation. This is again a 30 plus 40 hertz card, but this time we are taking down the lower frequencies. Now this controls both this and the sub bass. So yeah, because you want to completely cut this out. This is like a filter knob on the CDJ mixers you might have seen. And then there's this. For the fill part before the drop. And yeah, these are very small precursions I've used along with the stereo separation. And this kind of brings it from the wide end to a bit more mono end. It's a pretty nice simple effect and a simple transition, but yeah, sounds pretty good. The kick again has a very small short kick because you want to emphasize the bass more and not focus just on the kick. This also has a couple of effects on it. Again, I've used a transient processor. This plugin is pretty good, and there's more attack, no change in the release. EQ, you can see that the kick does not have much sub area. It's only focused on this much frequency band. And stereo enhancer, you want to keep it on mono, a multiband compressor and a limiter. You can see over here that the shape of the kick has completely changed. Like initially it looked like this, and after using all the effects, yeah. So you can of course bend your kick to whatever ways you want. I know most people would recommend that you can do a sample selection sort of a thing, which is pretty good, makes the process much easier. But if you're not satisfied with the existing samples, you can definitely go ahead and tweak it. It's not a crime. Yeah, so that was pretty much what the entire track was. And yeah, the second drop is again for the second drop. What you can do is make a couple of variations in the intro of the drop and then just continue with the same thing, and then you can extend it to an outro and then end it on an impact. And in the end of it, I've again used this one which I started the track with. So yeah, that's more or less the overall structure of the track. And that's it for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, follow me on Instagram at the rate Nippandab. I'm so sorry for that. Because of course it gives me motivation to continue making these videos, and it supports my own music as well. Now if you guys want the vocals, I'm anyways giving away the project file, but for the vocals you'll have to ask the original artist who covered the vocals. I'll leave all the details in the description. You can contact her if you're interested in doing the remix of this track, and you can talk it out with her. So I'll see you guys in the next video, and until then, bye and take care.